try to remember where the lines are for yourself.
Okay.
So you see how, like, when we come up, one of the ways you know you have a move is this isn't happening, right? So it should basically still line up. All right, a normal takeoff is going to look like this. It starts out like a hover taxi. Kind of push through ETL, and then you maintain, and you kind of climb out foot by foot, right? You don't want to pop up. We keep our power up. We're looking outside.
For South Tilo pad, report 2 miles west. 2 miles west.
Are you actually touching the cyclist? You can feel like what's going on?
I can feel your movement.
All right, we're going to turn crosswind facing this tree.
Okay.
Scout 4 Tango Echo, you're following the Cessna upwind. Our Cessna's in sight, 4 Tango Echo.
We're keeping our power up until we reach our top of climb. We're going to turn downwind facing the tallest tree in that cluster that's still on airport property.
Okay.
So here we are, about 1750. And then we're going to reduce to about 16 inches of manifold pressure. And this is about 65 knots level, right? Take a look at the compass rose. This is downwind of beam. And then here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a normal approach. So we're going to square this turn to some extent. Turn right over the field. You notice how I'm already slowing down and descending here?
Yes.
And what you should do is when we make our turn from base to final, look to see where that line that comes out from the compass rose is relative to these three lines. And later on, you're going to use your collective to keep it at the same relative spot. So here we could be a little bit faster, like 40 knots, but 30 is fine. 35. So now we're looking over at the compass rose. Looking over at the compass rose. I'm going to cover up all the instruments in a second, so it's probably more important to look outside right now.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is try to maintain this angle. So look to see where that yellow line that comes out of the compass rose.
Yep, you're right on it.
On the middle one or the top one?
You're in between.
Okay, so look to see where it is.
You're
and
still
look
in
to see
between.
where.
Still in between.
Okay, because later on you're going to do the same thing.
Now you're on it.
So right here, you're going to kind of slow down to this, and then raise the collective up to 21 inches, 22 inches, and take off again. We don't want to pop up, we don't want to change, so we hold at 21, 22 inches. And right now, we're like about 100 feet high, 60, 65 knots. And then we hold this, so I'm going to hand the controls over to you in a second, like now.
Okay.
So I'm going to take you through this turn, and then you'll do the turn to downwind.
Okay.
All right, so your controls.
My controls.
Your controls. Go ahead, keep on turning until you think you're going to face that tree, and roll out facing the tree. Good, roll out. So you see how, like, you want those lines in the tree?
Yep.
Good, go ahead and start your downwind turn.
Okay.
So this was a little bit slightly late.
Okay. Should have been earlier.
A little bit, yep.
Okay.
And then widen it out so that you don't rob yourself. All right, go ahead, reduce power to 16 inches manifold pressure.
Okay.
Looking, 4 Tango Echo.
We're reducing our speed.
Yep. All right, go ahead and look over between the tower and the runway, tower and those hangars.
Okay. I feel like I'm pretty fast right now.
You are a little fast, so I'm gonna help you. And you wanted to turn a little bit earlier, right? Because you see how we're turning more than 90 degrees now?
Yeah.
You want to look at this power line pole.
Okay.
And
line up with the power line pole. Okay.
Yeah. So you'll usually when you're about 65 knots, it's going to be like right around here that it appears that it is. Here we want to work the pedals. As you lower the collective, you're going to need right pedal.
And as we're lowering that, we're bringing the nose back too.
Affirmative.
Okay.
Right? Because if you just lower it and you don't bring the nose back, it'll get faster.
Okay.
So this, basically, you know, collective makes you go up and down. Cyclic makes you go faster and slower. Pedals affect the alignment. So you're just going to kind of hold this, let it come down, continue to slow down. About this high is good. And then you're going to raise the collective and put in enough left pedal that you don't yaw. Raise the collective to 21 inches. Probably need a little bit more left pedal. And look outside. And kind of hold this.
Tower 4389 X-ray is down to beam.
You don't want to fly over the rocks.
We're downwind to beam. Arrow 89er X-ray, you're number 2 following the Cessna half-mile final runway 27.
Need a little bit of aft cycling.
27.
Does it feel like we're not climbing very fast?
Yes. Doesn't feel like we're climbing fast.
Morning Tower, Sky 734 Tango. I'm going to do a go around yet again.
That was a little rounded.
A little early, right? So make this one later.
Okay.
But it's good that you're varying, you know, which way it is, right?
Yep.
So take a look.
Okay.
There's nothing to look at inside.
Okay.
Take a look at the tree.
Okay, got the tree.
All right. So take a look at where the windsock is. Now you're downwind of beam. We're slightly low.
Okay.
So we'll just descend a little bit slower. So take a look at that power line pole.
Got it.
This is about when you want to turn.
Okay.
All right. You're lowering the collective to manage the angle, right? So which pedal do you need?
I need right.
Okay. Good. Roll out. Good. Continue to slow down and come down. Take a look at the compass rose. Lower the collective as required to get it to where it was when I was doing this. Right?
Okay.
Take a look at your turn, right? You want to start your turn.
Okay.
You need some right pedal to keep yourself in trim.
Cessna 09, you're number 2 following the arrow.
Start to raise the collective to arrest your fall.
Number 2, clear for the Tango 27109.
Good. We're a little fast, right?
Okay.
So here's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I have the controls,
You have the controls.
but you have the pedals.
I have the pedals.
So your job is to keep us perfectly in trim throughout this traffic pattern, okay?
Okay.
That's your only job.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Make me work.
A little bit of left pedal, yep. See how it's doing this little tiny yawing?
Yeah, that's me.
Your job is to arrest that.
Okay.
A tiny bit of right pedal. Step on the head. A little bit of right pedal. And you're gonna have to put it in, mainly because that's transverse, effective translational thrust. So I'm looking ahead at the tree.
Okay.
Here, this is what facing the tree looks like.
Okay.
All right.
It feels like we are way late. My perspective feels like left.
How does it look relative to the
I'm
line?
getting your sight picture in
Okay.
to translate for me. So.
It should be fairly close to where the lines are, though.
Okay.
Right?
That's actually right now. They're over here. They're on the left of the tree.
The lines are? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
But I'll
looking
keep that
over
in
at the...
I'll keep that.
Yep,
Yeah.
so we're going to start lowering the collective.
Okay.
Pay attention to your yaw strings. See how it's quite a bit that's required, right?
Yeah. But
We're going to do each thing twice. So we'll do this one again.
Okay.
And this time, you're not working the collective, but just have your hand on the collective,
Okay.
so you know when it's being raised and lowered.
Okay.
Yep, take a look. Remember, when you raise the collective, up left, down right. Up collective left pedal, down collective right pedal. And this is kind of the ground track you want and the speed you want for your turn from big to final. And do you notice there's tiny collective movements, but you actually have a lot of work to do on the pedals,
yes.
right? Yeah. Let's go. Okay. So I'm going to raise the collective to 21 inches. Be ready with the left pedal.
Ready?
More left pedal. More left pedal. You want the blue line, sort of the vertical blue line, sort of lined up with the yellow line. And you're also using your yaw strings to keep yourself in trim.
There's a little bit of, I mean, it'll come over, and then it swings back.
That too.
Finding its spot. Yeah, okay.
That's your job. Good. So here you're going to need a tiny bit of right pedal for trim to coordinate your turn, right? So now we're looking out at the tree.
At the tree.
And we're going to roll out. Then we're going to look at that next tree.
You're number 2.
And did you kind of notice where it was in your field of view? Okay.
Yeah, same spot.
So here we are. We're about 1750. I'm going to lower the collective, so plenty of right pedal as we lower the collective down to 16 inches. This this is what 65 knots looks like over the ground, right? And when you're doing it by yourself, you'll do the same. Now we're slowing down and coming down. So take a look ahead of your turn and yaw string. So split your attention, yaw strings, yaw strings, yaw strings.
Yaw string, yaw string.
More right pedal. That's what you want to do. You want to split your attention between where you're turning towards and the yaw string.
Okay.
That's your scan. And this is the type of step where, you know, this is very different from a plane, right? Because it happens much faster because the pattern is much smaller. More right pedal. Good. Yeah, you want to, you know, work the pedals quickly.
Okay.
If you have the physical height and like flexibility for it, try to have your heels off the ground.
Okay.
So that all your center of gravity of your feet is right on the pedals, and then your glutes and your hamstrings should be tight. So your butt should be tight, your knees, your calves, your ankles should not be tight.
Okay.
And it should be tiny, quick movements that originate out of your core. A little bit more left pedal. Yeah, feel a little bit. Stay with me.
Okay.
This is kind of like what you should do.
Okay.
Feel that?
Yeah.
All right. Now you go ahead, take the collective, not the cyclic yet. Raise the collective up to 21 inches and don't let it yaw. Yep, 21 inches. Don't let it yaw. Good. And then we pass through ETL, so you need a little bit of right pedal for effective translational thrust.
Okay.
Good. And I'm going to start the turn. Good job keeping the power right at 21 inches. That's part of the good takeoff. So you see how the attitude hasn't changed very much throughout the takeoff? Part of why that's possible is because you've been consistent with power, right? Look for the next tree.
Okay.
A little bit of right pedal to coordinate the turn.
Are we off the collective right now, or are we still
You are. You're on the collective.
No, I mean, are we starting to ease up on it?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, when it's time to level off, right? So lower the collective 15 inches.
Okay.
Good. A little bit more right pedal to keep it straight. Good. Now we're going to start a turn, so you got to slow down and come down. So I'm going to give you the right airspeed. You use the collective to put that compass rose where it should be relative to the lines, right? If the compass rose is too high, you raise the collective. If the compass rose is too low, like it is right now, you lower the collective. Put in right pedal. Right? Do you see how like the compass rose is probably much lower than the middle line or whatever, wherever it is when I was doing a normal approach?
Oh, we're way high.
A little bit more right pedal. So we're going to go around. Raise the collective, 21 inches. So that's what you want to do on the next one.
Okay.
So we'll generally diverge a little bit from the runway. We don't fly over this pile of rocks, because if you fly over this pile of rocks with Chin in the helicopter, one day he's just going to chop the throttle on you.
Okay, thank you.
See how you respond, right?
Thank you.
Because until you have, that's your energy management. Until you're, you know, assured that you can do some sort of auto rotation, you should be storing altitude above obstacles and airspeed. Good. So we're about traffic pattern altitude. Go ahead, lower down to 15 inches. And then from here, you're not worried about looking inside. I want you look over at the power pole and look at your yaw strings. Good. More right pedal, yeah. Good. Keep on coming down. Make sure that you've got some rate of descent going. Very good. Look over at the compass rose. You see how we're not really descending right now? That's you. You control the angle. So I'm going to lower it a little bit for you.
Okay.
Work your pedals. Right pedal.
So initially we started at 15, but we go much lower than that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the shape of the power demand curve, right? You're going to have to go below to slow down and come down. But then on the back side of the curve, right, when you're at slow speed, you actually need more power to sustain it. So you see how I'm moving the collective up and down?
Yes.
To give you the right angle, you need to coordinate the pedals with those movements. Up, left, down, right. Okay? Now you're going to raise the collective to 21 inches.
Not actually, they want to be.
Left pedal for that. And your goal, I'm just going to do one with you.
Okay.
Your goal is for it to look like this.
Scout 4 Tango Echo, runway 27, clear for takeoff, left close traffic approved.
Okay, you're really working it hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how hard you got to be working it.
Okay.
Arrow 89 X-ray, runway
Alright.
27, clear touch and go.
If somebody tells you otherwise, I'm going to fire them.
Okay.
I turned a little bit early for this one. Like if I turn 90 degrees, this is where it should be. Alright, we're looking over at the tree. Do you see how I'm actually easing off the collective a tiny, well, then I pulled up through the turn.
Yeah.
But I was easing off the collective a tiny bit because from doing the traffic pattern a lot, right, I have a sense of what the side picture should look like. So then here, we're downwind of beam. We're lowering the collective 15 inches. Good. Then we look ahead at that power line pole. And where you turn is going to vary a little bit. The wind's kind of strong today, so we're leading the turn from downwind to base, right? When there's less wind, you would turn a little bit later.
Okay.
Number 2, runway 27, clear touch and go. Request stopping with 109er.
So, use those 3 lines, right? Look to see where the compass rose is relative to those lines. This is a normal approach angle, and it should basically stay constant. And later on when you're in ground school, they'll tell you what speeds we're doing right now, right? But I'm not showing you speeds because I want you to be able to do this by purely looking outside, which everybody should be able to do. And then, you know, the speeds are kind of guidelines. Like if you look outside at this visual rate of movement across the ground, it seems like, you know, a slow jog, brisk walk, they say. Right? Here we're really working.
Runway 27,
Okay? So you go ahead and pull up to 21 inches and put in enough left pedal. And hold, right? And then here you pass through ETL, so now you're going to need some right pedal. It's not so much that you need right pedal, but what it is the same way the main rotor disc goes through effective translational lift, your tail rotor goes through effective translational thrust. So you don't need as much left pedal to maintain the same trim condition anymore. Good, a little bit more power, keep it upright at 21 inches. Now we're looking ahead of our turn at the tree. Good. There it is. This is what facing the tree, we're lining up what the tree looks like. We're looking ahead at the next tree. Tiny bit of right pedal to coordinate this turn. Right. So looking straight ahead, that's what that looks like. Let's go ahead and lower the collective down to 15 inches. Keep yourself in trim. Good, even more right pedal. And here we're lowering the collective and here, look at the yaw strings. Don't stop looking at the yaw strings.
Okay.
Do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Takes a lot, right?
Yeah, it took a lot.
Good. Continue to lower. So there, you're turning hard right, plus you're lowering the collective. It's double the amount of right pedal.
So you're doing a lot of work.
Yeah. The pedals, this is the hardest thing for fixed pilot. It's the added dimension of the yaw axis, right? As an airplane pilot, very little is required of you on your pedals, right? As a helicopter pilot, you got to use everything.
Helicopter 911 Victor Romeo, Ramona Tower.
So does it feel like we're a little shallow?
Yes.
Yep. Start to raise the collective. Raise the collective.
Echo, you're number 2.
You're fine. Now just keep the collective constant. And we'll go ahead and take off.
Skyhawk 4 Tango.
Get a little bit of left pedal.
Sky 4 Tango Echo.
Pull it right on up to 21 inches.
Land on 27. Sky 4 Tango Echo, runway 27, clear land. 27, clear to land, 4 Tango Echo. And helicopter 1 Victor Romeo, just be advised I have a helicopter working taxiway Alpha. Report that helicopter in sight.